Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at this Protec Elite HP190 Firearm light, so please stay tuned. Now this firearm is made by Nebo, N-E-B-O. They do make a lot of different flashlights and they do make some other things for firearms. They also make a version of this that has a laser on it also. I'm going to go over a couple of things here before we open it up. This has two modes. You have the bright light mode, which is 190 lumens, so it's really bright. It's definitely well into the tactical range. And it also has a defensive strobe mode, so it's sort of like a debilitating flashing light. So if someone's like in your house at night and you shine this thing in there and it's blinking so fast, it's disorienting. Hopefully screw the person's life up. Anyway, it has a 2-hour life. It's water resistant and it runs on a CR123 battery that it comes with here on the back. So let's go ahead and I'll show you the front here. So why do I have this? Because I was walking around Walmart. No surprise there again, China Mart. And they had one of these hanging there, and it's very rare that Walmart has something like this, and they had it for the unbelievable low price of $39. It says it's high-grade aluminum body, so it's, you know, it's not plastic, it's all aluminum, so what can go wrong, right? So we'll go ahead and, before we get started, because I am going to go ahead and try it on my firearm. This is one of my firearms here that are on the ready. And we'll go ahead and do it properly where you also feel in the chamber there. One thing, here's a gun tip. Most firearms, this tab here is not the slide release. You're not supposed to like press it down and just let it slam forward, especially when it's empty. All you need to do is just pull back on the slide and go forward. What that tab there is the slide lock back, so you're pressing up on it and until it gets over and locks back. You shouldn't just pop it forward. You could easily, and when you have a round in it, what you should be doing is, like, if you had to slide back and you're ready to chamber around, you should be just pulling it back and then letting it go, and then you just let it go if it's chambering around. If it's not chambering around, just walk it forward so you don't cause any undue wear. So we are safe now. Got some home defense ammo in there. See if you know what it is. You can see the post in there, so take a guess at what type of round I have in there. And note it in the comments below for a little bit of fun there. So let's go ahead and take a close look while we start unpackaging this. Now I can tell you right now, right off the bat, I am not a big fan of lights on firearms. And the reason why is because when you're lighting your way, you're also pointing your weapon at whatever you're lighting. And if you're, you know, if it's nighttime and you heard a noise in your house, you go running down, and it could be your kid or pet or someone you love, just happen to be moving around in the house, and now you're pointing your gun while shining your light at that person. So before considering one of these, you should definitely get some training to learn how to use these properly. I might go over some real short tips here at the end, but keep in mind I'm not a firearms instructor, but we'll go over some common sense things. So anyway, again, you can see it tells you the lumens and all that good information here. It tells you the modes by Nebo. They show you what it looks like on a gun. That does look like a Glock, and it is a firearms light. On the back, there's a lot of good information. It tells you how to put it on your firearm, and tells you how to put the battery in, and there's some cautions and warnings and all that good stuff. So you can see I already had this open. I was sort of playing with it, getting to know it a little bit. These batteries like to roll. And the first thing that you notice when you pull this out is that it is all aluminum. Now, I believe that the earlier versions, the cap here was plastic, but This one is all metal, and I think the older versions had some of the writing, the Protec and light or some other in real big print right here. So the older versions had that, the newer versions do not. They just had the little writing right here because they're probably embarrassed to put their name on it so big anymore. Because if you take a look at other people's reviews out there, or if you read the reviews, let's say on Amazon and other websites, you're going to see they're pretty abysmal. You're going to see from 1 star to 3 stars, really not much more than that. But keep in mind, this is a very inexpensive light. It's $39 at Walmart, so it's a very good price. So what I'm doing here is I'm unscrewing the top here, and I'm going to put the battery in. Now, one of the problems that this has, if you read the reviews, is that it doesn't light if you screw this in too tight. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this in just enough to get this. See, it does have a gasket. It is waterproof. Let me show you that gasket right there. I should turn on the light. I put a light on here so just in case I gotta do these kind of things. So you can see there's a gasket right there, and it will seal. You go ahead and put the battery in, just like that, and we'll go ahead and screw this in. When you screw something in, don't just go ahead and just like I did. You should like put it in, back off a little bit. This way you don't cross thread your threads. You should back a little bit, then go forward. Just a lot of threads. Now, screw it enough where you get the gasket in, but don't keep on going much further, and I'll show you why. Now you can see the lights on, right? I'm going to go ahead and screw this down harder. Whoops. Okay, that was cheating, but okay. Hold on a minute. Alright, now I'm not going to touch the switch. I'm just going to screw this down more, and you can see how it just started to strobe by itself, and sometimes it goes entirely out and the switch is on. You can see switching it, and this is the complaint that you see on a number of reviews. Or it is down and then after shooting it goes out and it won't turn on, or it just strobes. But if you ease up on it just a little bit, then it functions correctly. Now the way that this works is you have a switch that you just move back and forth like that. Pushing it on this side turns it on. Do it again within a very short period of time. It goes into the next mode, which is a strobe. And you can see how nasty that looks. So that's how that works. 190, it's really bright. You got a good little spot there, and you have a flood that's not big enough in my opinion, and I'll show you why here shortly. So there's the problem. Now I'm theorizing that the reason why this thing can't be screwed in really tight is because of a design flaw. And if you look here, I'm going to tip this. Here's the part that touches the top of the battery, the spring right there, and right beside it there's a piece of electronic there, a component. So that sort of ends up pressing against the battery when you really torque that thing down, and this piece of electronic actually ends up rubbing against the battery. So that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So that's a bad design that would come in contact with the top of the battery, and maybe it's either pressing the electronic or it's just doing something where that's poor design. And right now I notice Walmart doesn't have any more, maybe because they got tired of all the returns. So if someone doesn't know how to deal with that, that could be a problem. Now as far as once you get that right, this should be able to take the shock of a weapon firing. So it seems to be doing okay. I will have to take it to the range and verify that, but it seems to be rock solid once you back off on that properly. So if you realize that and you don't have a lot of money and you got to have one of these, then $39, and of course Walmart will take refunds without much questions. So this could be a poor man's solution. as long as you realize all that. Hopefully this video will help you out if you're in that situation. So let's put it on the firearm. I guess, again, this firearm is safety checked. I hate when I do that on videos and when other people do it too. I count how many times you say So the way that this works is you loosen one of these knobs here, and it expands this thing, and it also makes this nub here go down, because that will lock in the ridge on the bottom of the rail of the gun. So you loosen it up, and we'll go ahead and put this on here. And it's kind of hard to do this on camera. Actually, there we go. Alright. So just slide this on, and you can see how that ends up going right in that notch. And then you tighten it. So that ridge is in the notch. And then you're tightening these rails together on the rails of the gun. And it's not going to go anywhere. You can see how I'm holding this. It really is not going to come off if you put this on properly. I think some people did complain that they didn't get it, that it did come off. I'm telling you right now, there is no way for this to come off the way that this is designed unless you didn't put it on properly, in my opinion. So far, just looking at this. I don't think it's coming off. So, the next issue with this is it's not ambidextrous. It's made for right-handed. You hit the button and it turns on. To turn it off, you have to come onto the other side and turn it off with your other hand. If you're holding it with the two-handed grip, you could use your thumb. So you use your index finger and use your thumb to turn it off. Hit it again quickly and you get it into the strobe mode. It doesn't have a momentary. I know a lot of better firearms lights, you have a sort of like a rocker, and you could just sort of momentary it or turn it on. It's a little bit, this is not as good, but, for the price, you're getting a pretty powerful light, 190 lumens, and it does mount good. And if you realize the trick to keep that light working, you should be good to go. Now, at this point in the video, I am going to go ahead and give you my rating on this from 1 to 10. If I go purely by the reviews on the internet, this would be probably getting about a 3 or a 4 out of 10, and that's about it. But you got to consider the price. Okay, this is all aluminum construction, waterproof. It feels like it's made pretty good. If it didn't have this problem with the tightening it down and everything, I would definitely give this about a 8 or 9 out of 10, because for the price you're getting an awful lot. But because the fundamental issue with this, and it's not just this, if you read the reviews, it's not just this particular one that I bought, it's going to get a 4 out of 10. How about that? I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10, but it's workable, so I'm not going to recommend it unless you're really, really gotta have one and you're hurting on money. Then, as long as you know about this, and as long as you buy it from a place that you can return it if there is an issue. It's very hard to recommend something where your life might depend on it. So I recommend that you bring this out to the range if you do go ahead and purchase it. Test fire, maybe 50 rounds with this thing on it, with the light on there, and make sure it's all good to go. And then go ahead and trust your life to it. Okay, so now I want to just give you a tip. Again, I'm not a firearm instructor. I can't say that enough, but I'm saying it. But what I recommend doing if you have to use one of these is when you're, let's say, investigating an issue in the house. You want to walk with the gun on the ready and use the flood of the light to try to light the area. Don't just point this thing forward like that, because then you'll be aiming at people. So what you want to do is sort of hold this and shine it and use the flood of the light. Let me turn off my big light here that I use for filming. And you want to try to use the flood part of the light. And actually the hot spot, if I look at my sights on my gun, it should shoot right on top of this hot spot right there. Or if I were to aim this just using the light and I want to shoot that helmet, I'd probably put my hot spot right there, the spot. So what I want to do is when I walk around, try to use just the flood and keep the spot on the ground as I move forward, if possible, so I'm not accidentally pointing the weapon at anything I'm not willing to destroy. Now, another thing to consider when putting something like this onto your gun is, now, will it work with your holster? In most cases, this is probably not going to work with the holster that you have, so you're going to have to work something out. Now, this is currently being used as a home defense, so it's not in a holster, so I have no problem putting this on here. However, again, I'm not a big fan of having the light on the firearm. I would much rather use a light like this Pelican light that I had reviewed recently, and use a separate light. And then I could keep this sort of down on the ready and use this to move around, but have the firearm down on the ready to come up, and then if I have to come up. Now, if you have to, if you know you have nothing bad or nothing good around you, and you do that, and anything jumps out, it's bad, you could do the old FBI carry. I'm gonna turn this off so I don't shine it, where you just sort of move everything together like this, which is not bad. Now, another bad thing about having a firearm or a light on your firearm is, if I'm the bad guy and I see this and I'm ready to shoot something, I could shoot right at the light, which means you're going to be shooting right at me. So one of the things that we were taught when I was auxiliary security force is to hold the light out like this while you're moving around if you're being shot at. This way they shoot at the light, and worst case scenario, they hit your hand. Sometimes you'll just sort of flash it on and off, and then use what you had as far as position to shoot at. So you just do that. So a lot of things to consider when you're thinking about getting a light for your firearm. Don't just slap it on there, and don't consider all these things that I'm talking about. Anyway, getting back to the review, again, I think I gave this, a 4 out of 10. The Nebo Protec Elite HP190. And just take in consideration everything that I said about it, and then make an informed decision of whether you want to purchase this. So I'm going to go ahead and make this gun what I consider safe and ready for my home, and make sure it's pointed in a safe direction. And thank you very much for joining me here at the Gear Obsession channel. I really appreciate every friend, viewer, subscriber, and you, and I hope you have a great weekend.